Hello everybody, hope you are keeping well. Today I would like to share with you a tutorial using Lavinia stamps that I've made for the exciting Halaganza. Making this card, I should be calling this card Welcome to the Magical Pumpkin Patch. The items you'll need are one of the large acetate circle mask, some low tack tape, Distress Oxide in Crackling Campfire and Wilted Violet, some VersaFine Black Onyx, an orange sparkle pen if you have one, if not a nice watercolour pen would be good, a Jelly Roll pen in clear, some blending brushes, some Lavinia Stamps Multifarious Smooth card. My piece of card has been cut to 14.5 centimetres square. And I've used the Lunar Lights stamps, the bat stamps and the crow set. So let's get started. To start with, I'm taking my piece of card that is 14 centimetres square and I'm placing down some Crackling Campfire, and I'm going to spray that with some water from my spray bottle, and I'm just going to smooch my card through the ink. Using extra water on the card just to make it a bit lighter and to give it a bit more texture. I'm now going to use my heat gun to dry my card. Now I'm going to place my card back into the ink that's left to pick up some blobs just to give a bit more texture on my card. There we go. And then I usually pick up the excess on a little piece of card that I can always use for a tag. And it could be used for this one because it will be the same colour. I'll just clean my side down, and once again I'm going to use my heat gun. Straighten my card up a little bit. Now I'm going to put down some Wilted Violet and do the same again. This time I'm only going to use a little bit of the Wilted Violet, mainly around the edges of my card. And once again I'm going to spread it out a little bit by adding a little bit more water and heat blasting. And once again I'm just going to pick up some little bits that are left to get a little bit more texture in my background, and that will be my background finished. So what I've done is I've already done one that's nice and dry, and this is the one I've done. I'll just wipe down my mat again. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our large circle mask. I've put a little bit of low-tack tape on this one just to hold it in place, and I'm going to press that down, and I'm getting the orange oxide and my orange blending brush. I'm dabbing it off on the side so there's not too much ink on, and then I'm just going to gently brush around the outside of my mask to give us a nice halo effect around the circle, which we can use as a sun or a moon, whichever way we want to do it. And there we go. So that's that part done. And the next thing we do is our stamping. I use the Lunar Lights because I think they look more like pumpkins. And because it's Halloween, I thought it was a nice thing to use. So we're going to get our stamping mat and our stamp. Sorry, our stamping platform. And once again, Old Faithful comes into play, my little piece of acetate that I always use to put my stamps down once I've inked them up. I'm going to turn that way. I'm going to put that about there. And then pick it up, and using my VersaFine VersaFine ink, I'm going to ink up my stamp. I hope you're all enjoying the Halaganza. It's nice to know that the shows have started again, and that's my first one stamped. So I'll pick up my piece of acetate and moving my stamp over. I want it about there. And re-ink my stamp again. That's my next one. And then I'm just going to fill in the rest of the card. Some lower down than others. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not too worried about this little bit here. I'm going to remove that because it's got ink on it. Clean that in a moment. And I'll just take a black pen and bring these up to the top. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our crows onto our stamp our crows onto our card. And this is the crow that I had in the centre. So I'm lining him up with the top of the blossom, or pumpkin as I'm calling it for the moment. We've got this one here. And then the third one just there. So we pick them up, ink them up, clean off my stamp press. And stamp my stamps. I was just looking to check that there was no excess ink around the crows that might have left a black mark on my background. And I'm just going to give them one more ink up just to get rid of the little white bits. There we go. And let that ink soak into the card as well. Okay, so that's that stamped as well. So now I'm going to remove my crows and I'm going to stamp my bats. I don't need my stamping press anymore. I'm going to use a small acrylic block for my bats on the same Versapen black ink. I'm going to stamp set bats there. And a set of bats there. And then the single bat from the bat set, I'm going to stamp in the centre. There we go. And that's our background and our stencils done. Our stamping done. The next thing we need to do now is we need to go back to our lunar lights, because as you can see I've just made these ones at the bottom look like a bit of a pumpkin patch. So we're going to mask off our stamp. We're going to put our stamp on a stamping block. I'm going to use my little foam pad using the bigger stamp. So the larger one that's on the top, that's the one I'm going to ink up. So to do that, what I did was I got my low-tack masking tape, and I just placed it over that area there. And then I just inked up that part of my stamp. Oops, that wasn't in the video, was it? So I just inked up using the edge of my pad. I just inked up that little area there, and then I removed, and then I just wiped off with a damp the ink that went onto that area there. And then I got my card and I stamped. I did put my piece of acetate down as well, just to be on the safe side. And I just stamped my image just there. And that gives us our first little pumpkin. So once again, I just mask off this area because I don't think it was in the video last time. So I just mark off this area here. I get my ink pad and just using the corner of my ink pad, I ink up the lunar light, and then using my damp cloth, I just remove the ink from the areas that I don't wish to have ink on. So I can try and make it look like a little bit like a pumpkin. And then I stamp just there. Right, I'll carry on doing that, and I'll fast forward this part of the video because it will take me quite a while. And there we go. That's our stamping finished as well. So we've made our background and we've stamped out our images. And the next thing to do now is to get our orange sparkle pen or any watercolour or whichever medium you prefer to colour in with. You could use anything, pencils. So I'm going to squeeze some orange paint onto that mat. I'm going to spray a little bit of water with it, and then I'm just going to paint my pumpkins. And once again, while I'm doing this part, I will just fast forward the video so it's not too long. There we go. So that's all our painting done as well. So we've only got a few more little bits to do now, and then our card will be finished. I'm going to leave that there for the moment because I'm going to do some splashes with that in a minute. I'm going to add a little bit more. The next thing is to highlight. It's to highlight in your silver pen. You can highlight your bats. And your lunar lights. Oh, and then highlight your crows, just to give them a little bit of sparkle from the sunlight. There we go. And one more crown. And then I'm going to highlight my moon. Just following along round the circle mask. Okay, so that's that part done. So that's all our highlighted done. So now we're going to just get our pen again, our black pen. just tidy up and make these look more like stems or a pumpkin. First time I ever saw these, when Tracy bought these out in 2020, I thought, oh, they look like hanging pumpkins. And now I've had a reason to use them for what I thought they were. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. And now it's just a case of highlighting around the edge of our card in black to bring our eye into the centre before we sprinkle on some. I'm using a black brush and still using the Versamark. I'm just going to gently carry my brush around the edge of my card. And that's our card. So the last thing to do is to just get some ink out of my sparkle pen, spray with some water, and using my fan brush, pick up and then just tap to get some orange starry things in the background. And that is our card finished. And once it's mounted up, it looks like this. I hope you're enjoying the Halaganza, and I hope some of you have made it to the opening of the shop, and hopefully I'll see some of you there. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye.